What if I take that term in Ed Rock and I put it between the Jay-Z and the Nas record? Like,
they're gonna listen.
They're gonna listen, right? And so he was like, yeah, you should. He was like, you should tell him that. And I was like, but we need a name. And so I just remember we sat there and we start Rockets, whatever. I was like, yo, the launch pad. And he was like, yeah, that's dope. And so I went to Cadillac. I was like, look, this is what I want to do. At the time, and there's no way you guys remember this, or you might, there was a therapist that used to come on jamming at 10 o'clock on Sunday nights. Dr. Kaplan, I think his name was. And he would talk to kids about like suicides and their thoughts and just like all the things that was going on. And so Lyrically Boston would come on at 11 o'clock, like right after Dr. Kaplan. And so Dr. Kaplan was still on, so it'd be Dr. Kaplan. And again, if it's not Dr. Kaplan, sorry, doctor, I totally forgot. But so he would be there, and then I would come in with my records and my CDs or whatever, my local stuff. And then the Launchpad started, and so this is in 2000.
Why call it the Launchpad though?
Just because I just thought, like, we were talking about like Rockets taking off. It was going to be new music. It was going to be.
It's interesting because on our side of
it,
it is. But it's like so interesting because on this side of it, right?
Yeah.
Being an artist in the city at the time, the only place you could go was to him, 88.9, because 94.5. We did get a couple songs in rotation, but it was hard. It didn't do it right. But then like being on your show was like, we felt like as an artist that was like the most legit thing you could do. So that was actually the launch pad.
Well, that's
to like get to where you had to go.
So that was designed, right? And so just fast forward, like, so it was a half-hour show, and then pretty quickly, like, I went to Cadillac. I was like, hey man, can I get an hour? I got so much stuff. Got an hour. Fast forward, Dr. Kaplan, they moved that show somewhere else, and then I got from 10 to midnight. I think actually maybe it was even 11 to 1 at one point, and then went 10 to midnight. I forget how it all moved around. But anyway, ends up 10 to midnight. But to your point, so the local heat drop that I had, there was two things that happened in terms of that show. One of them was actually during this time is Funk Flex was expanding the Big Dog Pitbulls. Okay. And I was like, great, I'm going to be a Big Dog Pitbull. I know Flex, I know Cypher Sounds, I'm meeting all these guys, whatever. I'm the shit. Back full circle thing to like, I deserve to be on this new radio station. I deserve to be a Big Dog Pitbull. He was like, yeah, Roy, here you go. You're a Big Dog Pitbull. And I remember that just fucking lit a fire under me. I was like, oh man, like I'm ready to go now. And right around the same time, K Slay was launching his DJ crew. This was the DJ crew. So he had the Street Sweepers. So he was like, you want to be a street sweeper? I was like, yeah, I'll be a street sweeper. I love your show. So the two things, so like stamps. So it was always about like, what's my flex bomb going to be? Right? Like I can't drop bombs on records, right? So for all the local shit that I really like, I just had that big radio, Eric Edwards guy who was like, local heat. You know what I'm saying? Like jamming 94.5's launch pad, so there was that. And what you may not know is like, I didn't stamp them all like that. Like there were local records I was like, cool, I'm just gonna play this record because I didn't really love it. But the ones that got the local heat was like, I'm into this shit. Now, there was something that said too for me, I'm like, you know what? As time went on, I was like, I don't necessarily want to I wanted to isolate the local records because I wanted people to take ownership of it and understand it was one of their own. But there was also times when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play this and hit the Street Sweeper stamp on top of it, just so they might not even know it's local or not, but just so it fits in. So yeah, everything was by design in terms of how I started that show. Funny enough, as I was driving up here and I was talking to Dennis, this year in April will be 25 years since the first Launchpad show, which is crazy. And so, so that was it. And then again, like, I think the show morphed, at least when we first started, it was, I had a lot of like acrobatic stuff and Ed and Term and, just everybody, right? Like it was new, so people didn't really know, but then the influx of stuff that I got.
It was crazy. Cool from like our perspective as well, because at that point in time, like I'm still having the AWOL thing, but it's like everyone's crabs in a bucket trying to get to these, because at the time the internet isn't a thing yet, so there's only so many fucking spaces, only so many minutes. But it was really cool to be in a car with people and be like, yo, that's terminology. Like, and then like it just gave you a validation of like, oh, you're a fucking, because back then there weren't white rappers really yet. This is still like new to this whole shit. And people are like, oh, you're a white rapper, like, but no, you're on the actual radio, like, oh, it's a whole new validation of that. Well, and your show gave a lot of people that validation.
Well, and